All right, let's start this with a really neat trick that's going to help us in lots of cases in the PSAT and the SAT. When we're doing a grammar question and we notice that there's a choice with a semicolon and a choice with the period, and they're the exact same wording, there's no words changing here, we can cross them both out. And that's because a semicolon is used to join or separate, however you want to put it, two complete sentences. So isn't that what a period does, right? It separates two sentences. So these are doing the exact same thing. And so there's no way for us to say that one is right and the other is wrong. They're both either right or wrong. They're equivalent, right? A semicolon in 98% of cases is going to be the same as a period. If you're interested in the 2%, go to my channel and look at my video on semicolons and it'll explain it. But it's really not going to come up in most cases. And so right away, we're down to a 50-50 shot. The next place I would go is choice A, because the colon also has a fairly easy test that we can perform. It needs to have a complete sentence beforehand. We have more flexibility with what comes after. It could be another sentence, but it could also just be a fragment. And so that's okay if that's what's going on here. Let's take a look. The sentence is kind of long, but here we go. By 1774, what had started as a local means of mobilizing support for the Patriot cause had grown into something far more extensive. Does that sound like a sentence? Yes. Yes, it does. I feel like I could put a period right there and it'd be done. Now, the part after says a network of such committees that, facilitating communication among the colonies, helped lay the groundwork for the Continental Congress. I don't even know what that means, but I don't even care. This seems to work. Now, if I went with choice C, notice I'm changing the wording, so that's going to affect how these sentence structures work. So the first part leading up to extensive and the comma would still be a sentence. But now I think if I add the it was, I'm turning the second part into a sentence too. It was a network of such committees that, facilitating communication among the colonies, helped lay the groundwork for the Continental Congress. It's a clunky sentence, but it's a sentence. And so this would be a run-on, because we are now joining two sentences in a way we can't. We're using just a comma. We can use a comma and a conjunction like and, but we can't use a comma alone. That's not enough. So this is going to go away too. But this is a very common thing that on the PSAT you just might not know because you don't use colons in your own writing. So you're not used to this kind of weird punctuation mark. So your instinct is just to move away from it and just be like, I can't be right. I never use it. But it's right a lot. And the SAT and PSAT are purposely going to give you questions where the right answer is a colon because they know if you're just going by instinct, you will never pick it. But if you know the rule and are applying the rule, it's pretty easy. It's still thinking about whether or not something is a sentence, but it's a very easy test. And suddenly we're going to be much more comfortable picking answers that are basically stuff we would never write ourselves. And that's okay. That's what we're testing here. It's much better to answer grammar questions based on rules than to base them on instinct because your instincts are bad.